I'm Rachel Davis, and I've been working on a 100 Days project, making mosaics inspired by nature. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about how the project has influenced my other work and my mosaic practice going forward. So working on a small scale was quite interesting. A lot of the pieces that I made, I was really happy with. Some of them I wasn't, but a lot of them, I was. And it started me thinking about, what would this look like on a bigger scale? Almost as if these were like little sample pieces that I could then use for bigger works. And so actually a couple of them I did then try that out with, and to see if I could kind of scale up these smaller ones into a larger one. And I hadn't really kind of recognized how much of a challenge that might be. So one of the mosaics that I did, inspired by a seaweed piece, actually translated quite nicely because the seaweed was made up of lots of little bits. So I could just put more little bits in a bigger space and it still all worked. But the other one that I created from a sample was a lot more challenging. It was a kind of white grey bark with these bright yellow lichen pieces. And I hadn't really thought about kind of how to scale that up in terms of the lichen pieces still stay the same size. They're still kind of little yellow bits of glass, but I needed to use kind of bigger chunks of rock to get the same sort of scale. And yeah, it was more of a challenge. I really struggled when I made that piece, but it was a really interesting experience to kind of start with something very small and to see how that looks on a bigger scale, and that some are much easier to do than others. And I think it also kind of highlights that when you're working on a small scale, how important each little piece is and how, each little bit makes a contribution to that overall design. Whereas when you're working on a much bigger scale, some of the little pieces, if they're not quite right, they can maybe get lost in there. But when you're working on a small scale like this, all the pieces have to work together to kind of create that kind of pleasing image at the end. So yeah, I quite enjoyed working on the small scale. Initially I'd chosen the small scale because I thought it wouldn't take me very long and I'd get through them quite quickly. But actually, it's a challenge in itself to kind of figure out how to put things together so they work well on a small scale. And it is quite a nice way to fit in making on a regular basis. Mosaic is a slow craft. It takes a long time to plan, to cut all the pieces, to get everything together. And it is quite nice and satisfying to kind of have a piece that you can create in a few hours and be finished with it. And when there's lots of other things happening in life, it's quite nice to be able to create something small and not have like a project that's going on and on and on. Something that you can try out different ideas with as well, knowing that you're only committing an hour or two to it. If it goes wrong, you'll just try something else instead. So I think it's been quite a good experience kind of working, creating lots and lots on that small scale. I really like how the overall putting them all together looks as well. And I can see moving forward, using some of the ideas perhaps that I've developed in some of these pieces to sort of scale up into maybe larger pieces, but also possibly kind of creating, maybe not 100, but another series of smaller works that can go together, because I think there's something very pleasing about seeing, lots of little bits all together as well. So yeah, there's definitely elements of this that I would, take forward into doing something in the future. Whether I'd commit to doing another 100 Days project, jury's still out on that one. Because I think in doing a 100 Days project and you're committing to doing that, you're also saying, well, I'm not going to have the time to do these other things that I might want to do. And so it's kind of choosing whether, you want to commit to doing the small ones or whether you want to commit to doing bigger pieces or other things. It's kind of thinking about how you want to spend your time and what kind of things you want to make. But yes, certainly working on the small scale, I've enjoyed and will be incorporating into things I do in the future.